What would you do if this woke you up at 2 a.m.? What are your legal rights? And what is causing that sound in the first place? Today we're going to talk about the door kick challenge from TikTok and how to best protect yourself and your home from anyone banging on the front door. But first, what's the door kick challenge? Here's how it all started. When I was a student back at the University of Dallas, I lived in the dorms for a couple of years. If something like this happened to me at 2 a.m., I'd definitely wake up angry, but then I'd probably quickly realize that it was one of my dorm mates being stupid and I'd go back to sleep, maybe after yelling at them or throwing something at them. But this trend leaked out into neighborhoods and it's still ongoing. What would you think if you heard pounding like that in the middle of the night on your front door? You'd probably assume someone was trying to break in. And I'll bet you'd grab the nearest weapon you could find. According to news reports, numerous homeowners have actually suffered physical damage to their front doors due to these people kicking so hard they're actually damaging the property. Damaging somebody else's property is a crime, so as a homeowner, what can you do? Can you shoot first and ask questions later? Before we get into the nitty-gritty details, I have to give you the obligatory legal disclaimer. I'm a Virginia lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. This video is not legal advice, it's general educational information. We're about to talk about life and death matters. Things you do in these circumstances, especially with a deadly weapon, could very well take someone else's life, and it could end your life as well. It at least could land you in the penitentiary for the rest of your life. If you own a weapon and are considering how to use it, you have to educate yourself and get actual legal advice from an attorney in your state. For years now, police departments across the country have been warning people about the door kick challenge because they are concerned it could end up in a worst case scenario. And the worst just happened right here where I practice law. Earlier this year in Spotsylvania County, Virginia, 3 teens were doing something like the door kick challenge late at night when the resident of one of the homes shot at them. One 18-year-old young man died the day of his senior prom, and the shooter is still in jail waiting trial for murder charges. The public facts of this particular case are still too hazy to discuss in a video like this, so I want to focus on what should you do if you're in a situation like this. First, I need to talk to the parents. Please do your best to know what your kids are doing. Kicking doors, or even just ringing doorbells and running off at 2 a.m. is not safe. People will assume that there's some kind of intruder, some kind of emergency, the adrenaline gets pumping, and bad things can and obviously do happen. Now to the homeowners. The best thing to do, in my opinion, is don't go to the door. If someone is banging on your door, especially late at night, and you didn't invite them, you're not expecting them, don't go near that door. You have no idea who's on the other side or what they might intend to do. It could be a harmless door kick challenge, in which case they're gonna run off laughing and you can just go back to bed. Or someone might have called in a fake threat to your home, a swatting incident. The entire local police force might be about to steamroll through your front door with rifles at the ready. Or you might be moments away from an armed home invasion like this elderly Portsmouth couple went through. Thankfully, that couple didn't end up hurt. The invaders ordered the couple to go into the closet. The invaders took some things from the home and left. But if the owners had never answered the door in the first place, the invaders might have gone to another home that did answer the door. Maybe they were simply looking for a soft target that would quickly open the door where they could go in, do their business, and leave quickly. But what does the law say about defending yourself? At what point can you open fire? Unfortunately, it varies among the states. Part of the reason is that, contrary to popular belief, our intricate law of self-defense is actually a relatively modern creation. Back in ye olden days of England, the law of self-defense was actually very narrow. From my research, it basically allowed self-defense only in cases of defending yourself against a robber. The law technically did not even provide for self-defense to defend yourself against a murderer or a rapist. And you could only even kill a robber if killing him was necessary to stop the robbery. If you had other means at your disposal of stopping the robbery, killing the robber may not have even been legally justified. Thankfully, we ditched the monarch a couple hundred years ago, and we have a much stronger concept of self-defense here in modern day America. The general rule, now keep in mind it does vary a lot, is that you can use deadly force to defend yourself against a threat of death or serious bodily injury if, number 1, your fear is reasonable, and number 2, the danger is imminent. But how does all that apply to someone banging at your door? Do you reasonably fear for your life? I guess it depends upon how loud and persistent the banging is, and maybe what other noise or activity may be going on. But if someone just kicks your door a couple of times in the middle of the night and runs away, I think you'd have a hard time convincing a jury that you had a reasonable fear against your life or serious bodily injury. But because you're in your home, we also have to look at what we call the castle doctrine. The basic idea of the castle doctrine is that if someone forcibly enters your home while you're at home, we presume that you are in fact in danger of death or serious bodily injury, and therefore it is reasonable for you to use deadly force. Some states, like Texas and North Carolina, extend the castle doctrine to allow you to use deadly force to repel the forcible intrusion itself. For example, the Texas statute includes using deadly force against anyone who, quote, unlawfully and with force entered or was attempting to enter unlawfully and with force. But does loudly kicking the door at 3 a.m. and running away count as attempting to enter unlawfully and with force? In my opinion, no. If this happens to you, I suggest not going near the door and definitely not opening the door. If a person indeed kicks through your door or kicks the door open, now you have a different situation. Now, I think it's pretty clear that they have used force to attempt to enter your home. They're not just knocking loudly on your door. They've actually opened your door using loud kicks to the door. And especially if they go one step further, literally, and step across the threshold, under Texas's statute, they have certainly used force to enter your home, and deadly force would likely be justified. But remember, these life and death laws vary in every single state, and there's lots of particular situations and things that have to be true in order for you to justifiably open fire. You need to do the research on your state to see what options you might have. My basic rule of thumb, if somebody's knocking on your door, even at 2 a.m., loud banging, don't go near the door. We've talked about in other videos, this is why it's great to have a camera on your door so you can pull up the camera and see who's there, see what's going on, without you going anywhere near the door and staying far out of harm's way. But what if you pull up your camera and it's the police banging at your door? Watch this next video so you can see how you should handle it. And remember, don't talk to the police.